Hello, welcome to this Gateway Flipped Classroom video. In Unit 9 of your student's book, you heard about the Rugby World Cup which took place in South Africa in 1995. It was an important event in the history of South Africa. The final was between South Africa and New Zealand. New Zealand were the favourites, but many of their players were ill during the match. If they hadn't been ill, perhaps they would have won the final. Nelson Mandela was very clever because he used the Rugby World Cup final to bring the country together. Perhaps the country wouldn't have united so quickly if it hadn't been for the World Cup. Let's examine these two sentences. They're both in the third conditional. They describe imaginary situations in the past. So when we say, if they hadn't been ill, we're saying that they were ill, but let's imagine a different situation and its consequence. To make the third conditional, we use the past perfect in the half of the sentence with if. In the other half of the sentence, we use would or wouldn't plus have plus the past participle. Often we use the contraction '(D) for would. But how do we know when the '(D) is had or when it's would? Well, look at this sentence. He'd have been unhappy if they'd lost. Is the first verb had or would? It's would because we know that if there's a verb after would, it must be an infinitive, like have. And we know that if there's a verb after had, it must be a past participle, like lost. Remember that the half of the sentence containing if can come first or second. The only difference is that if it comes first, we need a comma. But if it comes second, we don't. The Rugby World Cup in South Africa in 1995 isn't the only example of how sport can help to unite people and bring them together. Once, one of my favourite sports helped to improve international relations. Do you know which sport it was? Table tennis. Wouldn't it be great if we could solve all the world's problems with a simple game of table tennis? Perhaps you should stand up for peace and start practicing today. Thanks for watching. See you again soon.